Hi, this is Skip Stewart, Chief Improvement Officer with Baptist Memorial Healthcare. As we continue to improve, there are 3 questions that can be helpful. In the last 3 videos, and on this video, we'll continue to focus on this 3rd question. Remember from the last couple videos that this is a simple run chart, and it is a graph where one scale represents time and the other scale represents values of the measure of interest. Now, the solid green line there is the average. This is a run chart of falls for a hospital. My friend Mark Graban provided this data and chart for me from his new book, Measures of Success. Now, the front cover of the book is in the bottom corner, and I'll reference this book again at the end of the video. Now, the goal here provided by a leader was 31, so it becomes the voice of the customer. If you remember, the voice of the customer can come in many forms, whether it be a goal or a challenge or even a budget. And even though this is an internal customer, it's still the voice of the customer. Now, comparing numbers to goals will not lead to the improvement of the process. Goals are the voice of the customer, not the voice of the process. The goal approach does not reveal any insights into how the process works. Now, please do not misunderstand. We need goals, very much so. But we must understand the differences between the voice of the customer and the voice of the process if we hope to ultimately have these 2 voices in alignment. Now, to improve a system, we need to listen to the voice of the process. If we calculate what is known as natural process limits, those red dashed lines on both sides of the average of this run chart, we have created what is known as the process behavior chart, which is the voice of the process. The process behavior chart allows you to differentiate between routine common variation and exceptional variation. It allows you to characterize the behavior of your process as either being predictable or unpredictable. So if you had nothing but routine variation, then it would be characterized as predictable, which was the case in our very first video that we made about the voice of the process. But this process behavior chart has 3 examples of exceptional variation, and so it would be characterized as unpredictable. When a process is unpredictable, like this one, the process behavior chart helps you identify those signs of exceptional variation. Now, there are 3 rules in total that we will use to identify a signal of exceptional variation. All 3 rules exist in this process. Now, rule number 1 for a signal of exceptional variation is when points fall outside the limits of a process behavior chart. Now, rule number 2 for a signal of exceptional variation is when 8 or more successive values fall on the same side of the central line, that solid green line. And when the process occurs, when this occurs, it's safe to say that the time series has shifted away from the central line. One can see that the run of 11 points there below the central line that are labeled rule number 2. Since sustained shifts are not likely to happen by chance, such sustained shifts is said to be due to an assignable cause of exceptional variation. Another way that a weak but sustained assignable cause can make its presence known on the process behavior chart is a run near the natural process limits, those red dashed lines. So you see rule number 3 there for a signal of exceptional variation is when 3 out of 4 consecutive values that are closer to the same limit, that upper limit or lower limit, than they are to the central line. Another way to say this is that 3 out of 4 consecutive values are all within the upper 25% of the limit or in the lower 25% of that limit. Even though the assignable cause has a weak to moderate impact, this is still a shift that may be interpreted as an indication of the presence of an assignable cause of exceptional variation. Now, rarely will you ever need to use more than rule 1 and rule 2, but when you know you have rule 3, you can pull it out and use it whenever you need a little added sensitivity. Exceptional variation is attributed to assignable causes which, by definition, dominate the many common causes of routine variation. The process is trying to tell you that it has a problem. Each and every signal on a process behavior chart represents an opportunity to gain more insight into your process. When a process is unpredictable, like this one is, the outcomes will vary without regard for those natural process limits. An unpredictable process is not operating up to its potential because it is subject to the effects of assignable causes of exceptional variation. So since this process is unpredictable, the outcomes could vary outside those natural process limits any given week. By finding and removing the effects of these assignable causes, you can substantially improve both process consistency and process outcomes. Finally, process behavior charts are the way to listen to your process. When you listen to the voice of the process, as revealed by a process behavior chart, you can often detect signals that you would otherwise miss. Here are the resources I've told you about, and there to the far right is the new book from Mark Graban. Until next time, show me your thinking.